so we have the text here. This is like the second teacher video that you're watching today. And I'm just going to take a moment just to introduce this text to you guys, talk about a couple words that you're going to see in the text. So this is Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Right away, I see this nonfiction text feature, which looks kind of like a large submarine. I know that from my background knowledge, so I'm just making that inference that putting the title together, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and what looks like a submarine, I'm going to infer that that's a submarine. I don't know for sure. But there's a few things that I wanted to point out to you guys. On this first page, there's a word here, and it talks about during the descent, the men on the Trieste would communicate by radio with the surface. So using some context clues, right? Because good readers often use clues when they come to words that are unfamiliar. So I don't really know the meaning of the word descent. However, when I know that they're going to communicate by radio with the surface, and then I see this picture of what looks like a submarine along with the title, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, I'm assuming that descent means during the descent, they would communicate with the surface. So this must mean like their voyage down to the bottom of the sea. So descent actually means like descending or traveling downward. Then when we look at the second page, I see right away another nonfiction text feature. It's a diagram of the Trieste. Almost like we've taken this and just sliced it in half, and now it's showing like the inside and what it looks like. So interesting. I can see inside here, and I can see the different parts labeled. But I'm wondering how this connects to the text. Like, why are they showing me the inside of what I think is a submarine? What was the author's purpose for including this diagram? So, while we're thinking about that, there's two parts that are mentioned here that I wanted to point out, just the words. So we have an observation gondola, and then we have water ballast. So I can see that there's two unfamiliar words here, gondola and ballast. But if I go down here to the diagram, I noticed that there's an observation gondola listed here, and there's water ballast tanks right here. So it looks like it's something like a reservoir or like a container that holds water. And then down here, the gondola, I don't know, it looks like a circular part, but what I noticed is that like, let's look, there's an entrance tunnel. So this leads like outside of the submarine, down through the entrance tunnel and into this observation. Well, I know that observation means like to look at, to view, to observe. So this must be a gondola. Using my context clues and looking at this diagram, it must mean like an area where people are able to make observations. When we turn to the last page, I can see another diagram. This is actually a timeline. However, it looks kind of different from most timelines. So I know that this is Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. So I'm assuming that the Trieste started up here on the surface, right? And then it descends down further and further and further until if you look down here, it says that they've reached bottom, and then it travels back up. And I'm just following that arrow. So I know that's kind of like mapping their journey along the way. But there's one word that I want to point out. Emerged. When I look at this sentence, again, I'm going to use some context clues. Then suddenly the two men emerged unharmed. They had traveled to the deepest part of the ocean and made history. So if two men traveled to the deepest part of the ocean, all the way down here, and then they emerged, I'm assuming that that means that they're back at the surface, right? They have come out of the submarine. So emerge must mean like to come out of. to leave because I'm, again, using the clues here in the text along with what I see in this diagram. So today, guys, you're going to read all about this journey to the bottom of the ocean in this text, right? And after you learn about their journey, you are going to really think about the information that you learned from the text and what was provided in this diagram here, so number 1, and then what's provided in this second diagram, number 2. You have 2 questions in a discussion board post. However, each question has 2 parts. You need to open the discussion board post this morning and you need to read carefully both questions because in order to receive full credit for your response, you have to answer all 4 parts. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this article or about the nonfiction text features that are included.